Welcome into Just Five. Of course it is. I mean, come on. Before I get into the guts of what I'm going to do here over the next 5 minutes, I mean, can we all just celebrate Eric Stratton's Rush Chairman sport coat? I honestly think this is going to go one of two ways with this jacket. It's either going to become a phenomenon or I'll be the laughingstock of Charlotte, North Carolina and beyond. Probably the latter. All right, let's get to what's important today, because this week was the announcement of the International and United States President's Cup captains. Geoff Ogilvy for the international side and Brandt Snedeker for the United States. We had Brandt on the program. If you listened to the interview or watched it, you're going, God, what a thoughtful guy, what a good conversationalist. Geoff Ogilvy's the same. They will win all these press conferences. It will be a fun run-up to this event. What has not been fun is the result for the international side. But let me just give you a little bit of historical context as it relates to trying to build something like this. Because one of the cause celebs we've heard over the last 5 years or so is, why not make this a mixed team event? First of all, let's just stop right there. That's not going to happen. So if you want a mixed team event, which is reasonable, then let's create one. But the President's Cup is not going to become that. It is a profitable sports enterprise. You can say, well, that doesn't matter. Actually, it does. This is professional sports, and it makes money. They sell out all this hospitality. They have a good TV deal. So let's cast that aside. So what do we do here? Well, first of all, let's remember, anything like this, you got to give it a little time. It needs a little bit of luck. The Ryder Cup, in its first 15 attempts, going back to 1927, the United States won 12 of the first 15. The first 15 President's Cups, the United States has won 13 of them. So the United States won one more in this thing that we're calling a total failure or a non-competitive thing, whereas the Ryder Cup, it was 12-3 to 13-1-1. The other part of this is that if you look just in the last decade, the margin of victory for the United States over the international side has been 4.6 points, okay? Mildly competitive, but again, at the end of the day, the U.S. always wins. Whereas in the last decade, in the Ryder Cup, the margin of victory for the team that won has been 6.6 points. They've been blowouts. The difference is that Europe has won 3 and then the United States has won 2. I think time is on the side of this, but we're not a very patient society anymore. Why would we be? Because there's 5 million options right in front of you. You can say, first of all, I've had enough of Gary and hadn't been speaking for 5 minutes. I'll move on to 20,000 shows on Apple TV. It's got to be entertaining, and I understand that, but I do think we are getting there, as evidenced by the competitiveness we've seen from the international team over the last decade. The other part is that I think this event has something that the Ryder Cup should adopt, and that is create matchups. Things get chippy. This is the only confrontational competition that these guys partake in over the course of, if you're an American player, every year, and if you're the international team or the Ryder Cup team, every couple of years. So it can get chippy, and all of a sudden it's like, I want a piece of him. And those matchups can be set. That's a good wrinkle. And here's the last thing, venue. Be creative. If you're the PGA Tour and Medina is going to look different than it has in past, and I think it's going to wow people, Kingston Heath is on deck. I love the idea of people seeing that golf course, which is one of the best in the world. As we look out on the horizon and you decide, where are we going to take this? Take it to places people have never seen before that might be newer, since we are in this new golden age of architecture with some great golf courses that have been constructed over the past 10, 15 to 20 years. Or take it to historic places that are not going to do a major championship because, my gosh, 156 players and we don't want that. But a one-off, maybe we will entertain the idea of that. Venue matters. And I get it. At the end of the day, the international side needs to knock out the Americans and win one of these things to make it more interesting. But I do think that the President's Cup has good elements. And here's what I'm hoping. The Medina delivers as a venue. You're going, wow, this is interesting. The holes are great. The captains are very interesting to listen to. And the play is compelling. That is just 5, all the way down to the patch. We'll see you next week.